Las Vegas once dazzled millions with $5 steak dinners, $1 margaritas, and neon nights where anyone could feel like a high roller. Today, the Strip feels strangely hollow, sidewalks thinning, casinos eerily quiet, and visitors shocked by $12 coffees at budget hotels. Official numbers confirm the decline. Visitation is down more than 7% this year, with summer plunging double digits. What went wrong in the city that built its empire on affordable thrills? And why should all of America be worried that Sin City's collapse is a warning sign for the nation? Stay with us, because behind one CEO's slip of the tongue lies the hidden truth corporate Vegas doesn't want you to know. Reason number 9. The moment Vegas's mask almost slipped. Picture a CNBC studio, bright lights, cameras rolling, and MGM Resorts CEO Bill Hornbuckle answering questions about Las Vegas. Then came the stumble. While discussing a $12 Starbucks coffee at Excalibur, his tongue tripped. For a split second, the word greedy nearly escaped. The interviewer jumped in fast, cutting him off, but viewers saw it, the rare crack in corporate armor. Why does this matter so much? Because it wasn't just about coffee, it was about an entire business model built on squeezing guests. Old Vegas thrived on value, $5 steaks, $9.99 buffets, free drinks for gamblers. That generosity was the hook. Today it's flipped. A $45 room doubles after fees, $18 food court meals replace cheap buffets, and bottled water sells for $7. One Reddit user summed it up. Vegas used to feel like a deal. Now it feels like a scam. Hornbuckle's slip was the smoking gun, proof that executives know they've abandoned the magic that built the city. Imagine the fallout if he had said it out loud. Wall Street panicking, headlines blasting, politicians demanding answers. Instead, the moment was buried under corporate spin. But the damage was done. Tourists now suspect the game is rigged before they even step on the casino floor. And if a single word almost shattered the illusion, just wait. The next reason shows how the decline isn't just in words, but in hard numbers. And it's far worse than Vegas wants you to believe. Reason number 8, the visitation meltdown. Stroll the Strip on a Friday night in 2025 and you'll notice something eerie. The sidewalks, once bursting with crowds, now feel sparse. Casino floors that used to roar with excitement echo with uneasy quiet. Taxi lines that stretched for blocks now move almost too quickly, and the numbers back it up. In the first half of 2025, Las Vegas visitation fell more than 7% year over year. June and July alone plunged 11% and 12%. A brutal blow to the summer season. Yet, when confronted with these figures, MGM's CEO proudly pointed to one holiday weekend with 98% occupancy. That's like boasting your restaurant was full on Thanksgiving. It hides the bigger truth. Month after month, Vegas is bleeding visitors. Why? Because the costs have exploded. A $45 room at Excalibur mushrooms to nearly $90 with resort fees and taxes. Parking, once free, now costs $25. A simple burger meal for a family of 4 can hit $100. Add airfare spikes and inflation, and many travelers simply say, no thanks. As one Canadian tourist put it on TikTok, why spend a fortune in Vegas when I can fly to Mexico all-inclusive for less? The impact ripples outward. Taxi drivers lose fares, small restaurants sit half-empty, and service workers see their hours cut. On paper, corporate profits still look strong thanks to luxury whales in overseas markets, but on the ground, Vegas feels hollow. And if you thought vanishing visitors were alarming, wait until you see how the Strip's disappearing value is pushing even loyal fans away. Reason number 7, the $12 coffee that tells the whole story. Walk into Excalibur, a hotel once marketed as budget-friendly, and order a basic Starbucks coffee. Nothing fancy. No foam art, no celebrity barista. The cashier rings it up. $12. That jaw-dropping price became the symbol of a larger problem. The Strip's new playbook built on price gouging. Even Bill Hornbuckle, CEO of MGM Resorts, used this very example in his CNBC interview and almost admitted, maybe we got greedy. But it doesn't stop at coffee. A $45 room, once the pride of cheap Vegas stays, now inflates to nearly $90 after resort fees and taxes. A fast food combo that costs $8 back home Try $18 inside a casino food court. Even bottled water, once free for gamblers, is now $7 from a vending machine. Vegas used to lure people with a clever trick. You might lose money at the tables, but cheap food, drinks, and perks made you feel like you won. That illusion kept tourists coming back. Today, that balance is shattered. Guests feel cheated before they've even sat at a slot machine. As one traveler complained on TripAdvisor, "I felt scammed before I even unpacked my suitcase." On corporate reports, revenue per room is at record highs, but behind the neon glow, resentment is growing. And here's the escalation. If just one overpriced coffee can ignite outrage, imagine what happens when tourists realize the entire city runs on the same playbook. Reason number 6 reveals how the soul of Vegas, the value that once defined it, is quietly disappearing. Reason number 6, the vanishing value Vegas once promised. Close your eyes and picture the city in its golden years. Neon buzzing, buffets overflowing, and truck drivers or school teachers feeling like royalty on a weekend budget. That was the deal. World-class fun at everyday prices. But today, that promise has evaporated. Cheap buffets are nearly extinct, replaced by celebrity chef restaurants where dinner for two can rival a mortgage payment. The legendary $5 steak and egg special, long gone. Even fast food courts, once a safety net for families, now charge $25 per person for basic pizza and soda. What's worse, executives still pretend affordability exists. In his CNBC interview, Hornbuckle pointed to $33 course meals and $5 beers. Tourists laughed. Those prices belong to another era. The truth is obvious. Vegas has lost the very narrative that built its empire. Visitors used to justify gambling losses because rooms, meals, and drinks felt like bargains. Now they feel robbed twice. Once at the tables, once at the checkout. "I left feeling cheated, not entertained," one longtime visitor wrote on Reddit. And when trust crumbles, so does loyalty. Middle America, once the Strip's backbone, is quietly staying home or finding alternatives in Mexico, Canada, even small-town casinos. On paper, corporate profits still shine, but underneath, the foundation is rotting. And here's the open loop. If Vegas abandons value, what happens when even loyal locals and everyday Americans decide the Strip is no longer for them? Reason number 5 will expose exactly where the money is going and why it no longer depends on you. Reason number 5, follow the money. On CNBC, Bill Hornbuckle didn't hide where MGM's record profits are coming from. And it wasn't from your weekend trip to Vegas. He pointed to Macau, digital gaming, and luxury markets abroad. Translation: the Strip doesn't need the school teacher flying in from Ohio or the bachelor party from Canada anymore. Those guests complain about $12 coffees and $90 budget rooms, but in Macau, high rollers don't blink at $1,000 dinners or $50,000 gambling sessions. From a corporate perspective, why chase middle-class tourists when whales overseas can deliver the same revenue in a single night? That's the cold logic driving today's Vegas. But the risk is enormous. International markets are volatile. Macau depends on Chinese government policy, while Saudi Arabia's hospitality scene is still experimental. If those bets collapse, what's left when domestic loyalty has already been eroded? A bartender with 20 years on the Strip put it bluntly, that they don't care about us anymore. It's all about foreign whales. And he's right. The Strip, once built on millions of everyday visitors filling hotel rooms and buffets, is now a showroom for investors. It's a dangerous gamble, alienating the very base that made Vegas sustainable. On the surface, revenues shine brighter than ever. But underneath, the city is cutting the branch it sits on. And if you think ignoring everyday Americans is short-sighted, wait until you hear the next twist. Casino bosses want taxpayers themselves to fund Vegas's survival. Reason number 4, government bailout dreams. In that same CNBC interview, Bill Hornbuckle floated an idea so unbelievable it stunned viewers, asking Washington to subsidize casino marketing. Think about the contradiction. MGM proudly announces record quarterly profits fueled by overseas whales and luxury resorts. Yet its CEO complains that U.S. tourism funding dropped from $100 million to $20 million and suggests taxpayers should pick up the slack. For everyday Americans struggling with grocery bills and housing costs, The idea feels tone-deaf at best, insulting at worst. Should families already priced out of Vegas now pay taxes to advertise it? Hornbuckle framed it as an investment in America's travel industry, but the subtext was clear. Public money to maintain private profits. Locals feel the sting even more. Remember, Las Vegas residents already pay extra hotel taxes to fund Allegiant Stadium and mega projects they rarely benefit from. Now, executives want another handout. They nickel and dime tourists, then beg for subsidies, one local commented on Facebook. The irony is painful. Old Vegas built loyalty without taxpayer help. Cheap buffets and free perks marketed themselves. Today, after years of squeezing guests with resort fees, overpriced meals, and $12 coffees, corporate Vegas wants Uncle Sam to bail it out. And here's the escalation. If executives are already asking taxpayers to fund their marketing, what happens when even loyal international visitors disappear? Reason number 3 reveals how one of Vegas's most faithful audiences, Canadian tourists, are now being dismissed as expendable. Reason number 3, Canadian tourists from VIPs to afterthoughts. For decades, Canadians were the lifeblood of Las Vegas tourism. They escaped harsh winters, filled hotel rooms in the summer, and often brought extended families along. Entire marketing campaigns once targeted the snowbird crowd, promising cheap buffets and affordable weekend getaways. But in his CNBC interview, Bill Hornbuckle admitted Canadian visitation is down a staggering 40%, then brushed it off, noting they only make up 3% of the mix. On paper, that sounds minor. In reality, it's devastating. These weren't casual visitors. They were loyal repeat customers who treated Vegas like a second home. Losing them means losing long-term trust. Why the decline? Rising Vegas costs collide with a weak Canadian dollar. A $90 room with fees converts into nearly $125 CAD. Add expensive meals, airfare, and 200+ show tickets. And suddenly a Vegas weekend rivals a European vacation. Canadians, known for their practicality, are choosing Mexico's all-inclusives or domestic trips instead. The insult is the dismissiveness. "We don't really need you," was the subtext of Hornbuckle's comment. For loyal guests, that feels like betrayal. "We went every year for 15 years, but not anymore. Too expensive and they don't want us," one Canadian couple wrote on Reddit.
Vegas always prided itself on being international, a crossroads of cultures. By shrugging off Canadians, it chips away at that identity. And here's the escalation. If one of the Strip's most faithful audiences feels unwanted, who's next? Reason number 2 reveals how Vegas is betting everything on mega events and why that gamble could backfire. When asked how Las Vegas plans to bounce back, Bill Hornbuckle leaned on one word: programming. Big-name concerts, championship fights, NFL games at Allegiant Stadium. On paper, it sounds like a silver bullet. After all, who wouldn't want to see Paul McCartney or Canelo in Vegas? But peel back the glitter, and the event economy looks more like a mirage than a solution. Tickets for these spectacles often start in the hundreds and soar into the thousands. A Paul McCartney ticket can run $3,000, and that's before airfare, hotels, and food. Add $300 a day for a family of 4, and suddenly Vegas becomes gated behind platinum credit cards.
Sure, Hornbuckle bragged about 98% occupancy tied to events. But what about the other 40 weeks of the year? Casino floors sit quieter, restaurants scramble for customers, and staff face unpredictable schedules. The volatility is obvious: short-term spikes, long-term emptiness. Even worse, the psychology of Vegas is shifting. It used to be the place where anyone, rich or poor, could find excitement. Now the message is blunt. If you can't afford $1,000 tickets, you're not the audience. Vegas used to be for everyone. Now it's for elites, one local bartender said. That alienation is dangerous. By chasing prestige, the Strip erodes the mass appeal that once made it legendary. And here's the escalation. If mega events can't bring back Vegas's soul, then what's left? Surely you're waiting for the most shocking revelation, the one I'm about to reveal. Every great empire doesn't collapse because of enemies at the gates. It crumbles from decay within. Las Vegas is no different. From $12 coffees to $3,000 concert tickets, the message to ordinary visitors is crystal clear. If you can't afford it, the city isn't for you anymore. That's not just bad business. It's a betrayal of the very foundation that built Las Vegas. For decades, Vegas thrived because regular people kept coming back. They planned bachelor parties, anniversaries, and family trips because they knew their dollars stretched further here than anywhere else. Cheap buffets and free perks softened gambling losses, creating loyalty that money couldn't buy. Now, that loyalty is gone. Visitors don't brag about deals. They warn friends about being gouged. Locals avoid the Strip, service workers face unstable hours, and small businesses off-Strip struggle to survive. On paper, casino profits sparkle thanks to whales and overseas markets. But those markets are fragile. Macau depends on politics, Saudi Arabia on untested experiments. If those bets falter, what's left when everyday Americans have already walked away? The social cost is just as grim. A city once marketed as for everyone is now seen as for the few. Vegas's myth wasn't only about gambling, it was about dreams within reach. That mythology is fading, replaced by cynicism and resentment. And here's the chilling truth. Neon lights will still glow, but without trust, the magic that made Vegas legendary will vanish. What remains is just a hollow city, glittering on the outside, but rotting within. Las Vegas's decline isn't just about hidden fees or overpriced coffee. It's about a broken model that prioritizes short-term profits over long-term loyalty. For decades, the city's magic relied on a delicate balance. Tourists would lose money at the tables, but they felt rewarded by cheap food, free perks, and the illusion of luxury within reach. That psychological contract kept people coming back year after year. Now, that contract has been shattered. Resort fees, $18 fast food, and $3,000 concert tickets signal that Vegas no longer cares about the middle class. And once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Economically, this strategy is brittle. Whales and mega events may boost quarterly reports, but they can't sustain year-round stability. International markets like Macau or Saudi Arabia are volatile, subject to politics and regulation. If those bets falter, Las Vegas will find itself without its loyal domestic base. Socially, the damage is already visible. Locals avoid the Strip, workers struggle with unstable hours, and small businesses outside the glittering core collapse. Culturally, the cost is even greater. Vegas used to be more than casinos. It was an idea, a place where anyone could feel like a winner for a weekend. That mythology is fading fast, replaced by cynicism, resentment, and warnings to stay away. The neon still shines, but behind it lies an uncomfortable question. If greed has hollowed out the soul of Las Vegas, can the city ever recover its magic? Or is this the beginning of its slow, inevitable decline? Las Vegas once promised magic for everyone, cheap thrills, dazzling lights, and memories worth a lifetime. But today, behind the glittering Strip lies a harsher truth. Greed has replaced generosity, and loyalty has been traded for short-term profit. Visitors feel gouged, locals feel abandoned, and the city risks becoming a hollow brand rather than a living legend. The question now is simple yet chilling. Would you still gamble your money and your trust on a city that no longer plays fair? Let us know in the comments. Do you think Vegas can recover its magic, or has the soul of Sin City already faded for good? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden truths behind America's biggest stories.